I'm Dan-Labbe alongside Mary Kay Cabot, and our Browns training camp preview continues. We're going to talk about, what else? The quarterbacks, Brian Hoyer, Johnny-Manziel. It is going to be a full-fledged battle between these two guys, and Mary Kay, I believe it was you who said something along the lines of, this is a competition. These guys aren't necessarily best friends out there. These guys both want to start week 1 in Pittsburgh, and it shows.
Absolutely, and we learned early on from Coach Pettine, he does not want them to be warm and fuzzy, and we really haven't seen that in camp. You've seen that there is that little bit of an edge, that tension, and the coaching staff wants to keep that going. I will tell you that I talked to Brian Hoyer just last week at Joe Hayden's charity softball game. He is determined to keep this job. He's starting out camp as #1 on the depth chart. He does not plan on losing that anytime soon. He's only taken 5 days off ever since he came back from the torn ACL. Once he started rehabbing, he's taken 5 days off. And as we all know, we've seen Johnny kind of having a good time since the day he got drafted. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how they come out of the gate.
Yeah, the big news, of course, for Brian Hoyer is he is cleared to play 11s on 11s. That was not necessarily a given, and then we find out at Joe Hayden's celebrity softball game that yes, he is cleared to go 11 on 11.
He is, and you know what? That's huge for him, even just from a psychological standpoint, to get out there on that first day of training camp on Saturday and show the fans, to get out there to take the first team reps and be able to complete a pass in the face of a rush. Now, of course, they can't get to him for real or really tackle him or anything like that, but just for him to be there, I think it will be a huge, tremendous boost. And the thing to remember about Brian Hoyer is he's got that hometown boy thing going for him. So even though Johnny is the #1 jersey seller and Johnny is Johnny football, Brian's got a lot of support in his community, and he will have a ton of support at training camp.
Yeah, one of the interesting things, we've seen this before, Mary Kay. You remember Derek Anderson was having a Pro Bowl season, but everybody still wanted to see Brady Quinn. When there's a backup that fans love, they want to see this guy. I wonder, though, would it be different if Brian Hoyer wins this job? Because he is a hometown kid. He is a guy that fans can root for, even if he's not necessarily, their guy.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I mean, that's going to be very interesting. When I'm out in the community, most people that I run into, they say, oh, we want Brian Hoyer to start the season, which has actually kind of surprised me because of Johnny's popularity. I have thought that most people would say, it's Johnny all the way. But Brian still has a tremendous, tremendous amount of support. And when I talked to Coach Pettine this week, he said, it's open. The competition is absolutely open. Anyone has an opportunity to win this job. This is not going to be a situation like I've seen in the past where, you put the guy that you don't want to win the job using the second team offense against the first team defense so they don't look good. They're going to try to mix this up in such a way that these guys have a fair and equal opportunity to win the job. So if Johnny wants this job, he's got to go get it.
Now, we don't have time to list all the photos we've seen of Johnny-Manziel since when he got drafted to now. But all that off-the-field stuff, do you think that has any impact on him with the start of training camp?
Well, you know what? We shall see how ready he is. If you add up all the hours that have been spent flying all over the place and crisscrossing the country and being other than places where you would be actually, in a film room or throwing to someone, it does look like he has spent an inordinate amount of time doing things other than studying the playbook. But will that impact him on the field? I don't know. I do know, we should mention that when I did talk to Coach Pettine this week, he wants to have his starter named before the 3rd preseason game. So he would like to get that taken care of by then. So if Johnny wants this job, he's got to come out of the gate very, very quickly. He's got a lot of catching up to do. It's a complicated playbook, and he's not really used to having a playbook.
Do you have a sense, does the coaching staff maybe prefer having a veteran start in week 1 at Pittsburgh? If they could just choose right now, would they prefer to have that veteran start? You know
what? That's what Mike Pettine has been saying, but we really haven't 100% heard from Kyle Shanahan and quarterbacks coach Dowell Loggins on the topic. And they will have a tremendous influence on who starts at quarterback. Now, of course, Mike Pettine will also factor into the equation in a huge way. But he will take largely into account what Kyle Shanahan and Dowell Loggins want to do. And we've just seen, when Dowell did that interview in the offseason, and he gushed about Johnny Manziel. We know how excited he is to have someone that can roll out and run around and do all the things that Johnny can do. So I don't think this competition is over yet.
All right, so the quarterback battle, obviously something everyone will be watching up until that third preseason game when, as Mary Kay just said, Mike Pettine would like to name his starter. Offense, defense, coaches, quarterbacks. We're talking about them all in these training camp preview videos. Be sure to check them all out at cleveland.com/Browns. She's Mary Kay Cabot, and I'm Dan Labbe.